Hi there, this is Amanda from Time Out Scraps, and I'm bringing you part one of my Christmas junk journal. This is my digital printable kit that I'm going to use for my pages, and I'm going to create the cover out of a Raisin Bran box. I'm going to cover the box in fabric, and it is a white fabric base, so I don't want the colors on the box to go through or to show through. So I'm gessoing the outside of the Raisin Bran box. Add a little more gesso. I'm going to use my heat tool and dry it up after this. And I still see a lot shining through from the box, so I'll go ahead and add one more coat to it. I dry it a little bit with the heat gun, and I'm going to set it aside to finish drying while I work on the pages. So I'm taking the back sides of the printable kit. I printed them on white copy paper. So I'm spraying them with coffee. And after I coffee dyed some paper, I just put the leftover coffee in a spray bottle, an empty spray bottle, and a little bit of alcohol in it to keep it from getting yucky. So I just spray the back sides, and then I dry both the front and the back just to stop it from being warping up and wrinkling up. And then as soon as I get it mostly dry, I'm placing it under a big heavy book just so it lays as flat as possible. Then I get smart and I decide I might as well start doing 2 at a time. And if I keep drawing on one side, they curl up, so it is helpful. That's my favorite part, is to go back and forth on each side so it lays as flat as possible. Some of the ink from the printable on the front leak through to the back, and I'm okay with that. It adds a little more grunginess to it. I have trimmed these papers. When they print on my printer, there's an automatic white border that comes on there. So I did trim off all the white borders ahead of time. There's my cover. I'm going to finish making sure it's completely dry. I'm going to take all the papers that I've coffee dyed the backs of, and I'm going to fold them in half for my signature. Just using the bone folder to crease the edge. I like how all these pages have that grungy edge to it, so I don't have to spend the time with my Distress inks and edge all the ink, ink all the edges. Saves me a little more time, and that's also why I cut off that white border, just because I want to see that edge from the digital. And these papers, these digitals were created, the base of each one was created on my Gelli plate, and then I digitally enhanced and added to each of them. I'm going to measure my cover so it's the perfect size for my signatures. And I like the fold that's already in the cereal box, so I'm going to keep that as my spine. I try to use my paper trimmer, but it's just too thick and wide, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it by using my scissors. Probably need to invest in one of those big guillotine paper trimmers. I'm going to cut the side panel of the cereal box in half and then double that up to be my spine. So I just want to draw my lines so I can cut as straight as possible. I'm using just the side ruler and edge from my Tim Holtz glass mat. And I just take one of those folded pages as my guide. I don't really measure how long I exactly want it. I just eyeball it. I love that acrylic tool from Tim Holtz to help me keep everything straight and in line. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this. Sometimes I'm out of frame. Still learning to remember to keep everything in the center. On my two pieces for my cover here. I'm going to just glue them together to make that spine double the thickness. And I'm using the Tombow glue for this part. Tombow glue is probably one of my favorites because it's so strong. I'm going to add my fabric to my cover now. So I'm going to measure out about how much I need. I'll use fabric glue to glue the fabric onto the outside of the cover. And I'll just apply the glue to the cardboard cover itself, and it comes out a little bit thicker. I haven't used this glue too much before, so the lines it comes out is thick. So I'm going to use my plastic palette knife just to smear it around a little. That way it doesn't show big obvious lines on the cover fabric. Just smear that fabric glue around. I'm working as fast as I can because it is drying pretty quickly for fabric glue. I just turn it over and smooth out all the bumps and wrinkles. And it holds it really well. I'm going to trim off the corner so I can fold it neatly over and glue all the edges to the inside of the cover. And just use that same, I'm going to use the Tombow glue on this part. I didn't want it to be so thick, and I wanted to move a little bit quicker here. So the Tombow glue worked pretty well. It did seep through to my fingers a little bit. That's okay, just glue. I'll let that dry. I'm going to find some scrapbook paper, and I'm going to measure how much this is going to be the inside of my cover. I'm also going to add a ribbon before the scrapbook paper to be my closure. So I'm going to use fabric glue again to tack that ribbon down to the center. And I like to measure just to make sure it's somewhat in the center before I glue it down. Measure what I want my scrapbook paper size to be. It's a little bit smaller than the actual cardboard. So I'll make 2 of these. And then I'll save the extra pieces for the spine. Use art glitter glue to glue these in. Using all kinds of glue today. I'm going to use my bone folder just to smooth out and spread that glue around. When you get the insert, the signature insert sewn in, you won't really see the spine very much. So I'm not too worried about it being perfect on the spine. So I just use my scraps and add 2 pieces to cover it. And in part 2, I'm going to go ahead and put the signatures together, decorate them up, and sew them into the cover. So that's it for part 1. I hope you've enjoyed this. Check out my digital kit down below, and I'll see you for part 2. Have a great day.